Welcome to the 1000 GM Player Profiles. I'm here with FIDE Master, Milind Maiti. Welcome to the show, Melind. How do you feel to be here?
Honestly, I'm really happy to be here. Love to talk to everyone and tell everyone a little bit about myself.
Great, great. Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to appear on the show. I know you're probably getting, really studying, getting prepared for the tournament, right?
Yeah.
All right. So let's start first, though, before we get into what you're doing, the work you're doing. Let's start with a few questions from 1000 GM, our organizer of the tournament. They want to hear from you what you understand of the mission of 1000 GM. You know, how do you think it's going to impact the chess scene if they're able to produce a lot of tournaments and produce Grandmasters and international masters in America?
I think that'll really help spread the word about chess and help, make chess more popular among and more accessible to people of all different ages and from all different backgrounds. I think that, with more tournaments, we can really expand the chess community and help bring it to maybe other places like schools and other community centers where chess hasn't been as much showcased.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with more public outreach, more people will be able to be exposed to the game and can help learn the game. And then that will also result in, I think, more grandmasters and international masters being produced because more people will be entering the game and learning about it and studying it more in depth. So I think that's really great and will help create a whole chess ecosystem.
Oh wow, that's actually a good word, a chess ecosystem. That's really astute. How old are you?
I'm 17.
Wow. I mean, you're an incredibly bright young player. So, I mean, how did you even come up with that idea, the chess ecosystem?
I don't know. I guess I've been playing for many, many years now and, talking to different people and hearing about their backgrounds and how they got into chess and then how the tournaments help, bring everyone together and have that sense of competitiveness, yet also create those friendships that last.
Wow, I appreciate that, Melinda. So let's talk about your experience in norm tournaments first, though. Um, have you gone to many norm tournaments?
Yes, I have been to, um, I think this would be my seventh one by now. If yeah, this one would be my seventh one.
Wow, wow. And were any of those free entries?
No, actually, they were all paid entries.
Okay, so how are you? How excited were you or your parents when you heard that this was going to be free?
Yeah, I was actually really surprised. I mean, I thought we must be reading something wrong or that, we're missing something or not catching something. Like, I didn't believe it.
Okay, well, what convinced you that it was actually true?
I once after reading the entire contract,
Okay,
I saw that the deposit would be refunded, and then I realized, oh, okay, it actually is free. Like,
wow.
there's no strings, there's no catch.
Yeah. So how much do you think you or your parents have spent on the other norm events that you've gone to?
Would you say just the entry fee or like the entire hotel, flight, and everything?
Yeah. Can you estimate everything?
Everything, would say
Is it like tens of thousands of dollars
upwards
or?
of maybe $15,000.
Wow, wow, that's a serious expense. Um, I mean, you must be super dedicated. Is that a one reason why you'd be willing to put in that money?
Yeah, super dedicated, and I also love playing, and I want to try to reach that. It's always been like a dream of mine to get to Grandmaster level, so I want to put in the time and effort to get where I want to be.
Yeah, and your parents are probably paying most of the money. How do you think it'll affect them if they're able to get more free events?
I think, that would really help them to, have more peace of mind before these events, knowing that, some of the financial burden is lifted off and also for me, I think also, less pressure because I know we aren't spending as much. So, it's a little bit easier on both me and my parents.
Okay, yeah, I mean, you're really astute about all these issues. I don't think anybody else has raised how nervous parents are for their students, for their kids playing in these events. Like, are your parents really nervous for you when you play?
Yeah, like even sometimes my dad goes or my mom goes, but even if either parent stays at home, like they're always watching the game from the broadcast and like looking at my every move and then, hoping that I play the right move and trying to understand what's going on.
Yeah. Does that put a little bit of extra pressure on you too?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, especially for me also, like now my friends also sometimes like tuning to the broadcast. So it's, I would really try to make sure I don't make like a really obvious mistake or blunder.
Right, right. Okay. So let's move on to what I would say is the hard question to end this segment. Is there systemic discrimination in chess toward financially privileged players? Meaning, do players that have more access to money and resources, do they have more chances of becoming international masters and grandmasters?
I think that that is true that there very much is. I mean, you have to be like a true prodigy and you have to be really, really good if you were coming up with financial hardships because many of these tournaments, in addition to like over $300 entry fee for just regular tournaments and like $800 or plus for norm tournaments entry fees, um, you have to pay for the flights, the hotels, you have to pay for coaches, and all those things add up really quickly. And if you don't have access to that type of financial resources, it's really hard to come up by yourself. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe now it is a little bit easier, but you still have to get that over the board experience. And like online tournaments don't help you as much, and those over the board experiences are really expensive.
Wow. Man, you are so bright. You have a huge, great future ahead of you. So let's move on, though, to talk about your past first before we get to the future. I want to hear what got you into chess. What age did you start, and maybe give me the scene, like where you grew up, and then what got you into chess, and at what age?
Well, I started learning chess at the age of 4.
Wow.
My dad brought a DVD from the library. I think it was from Susan Polgar on how to play chess,
Oh
and
wow.
I watched that DVD. And then I started playing a few games with my dad on a wooden chessboard, and then I think it all progressed from there.
It's funny is that you're actually getting old because I don't know if some kids even know what a DVD is now. I'm just kidding. I think most people do. But so you learned from from the DVD you got from the library. Where did you grow up? What city?
I grew up in Cupertino, in Silicon Valley.
Okay, okay. So you're in the Bay Area,
Yeah.
and then when did you go to a like an after school class at all, or did you start just go to a club and start playing at a club?
Yeah, I think I went to a few tournaments first and then I joined a local club. I think it's called the Let's Play Chess Club.
Okay,
And then also another one called the Colty Chess Club
okay, great, great.
and started playing there.
Shout out to those clubs if they're still surviving after the pandemic. It's been tough for them, so hopefully they're still going and going strong. Um, and then, when did you know that you really loved playing chess? Did you just? I mean, was it almost just from the beginning, or?
I think it was pretty much in the beginning, like you know, I would whenever I would lose against my dad, I would like always ask him to play again and again. And then I also got that book, How to Beat Your Dad at Chess.
Oh, you got that book. Okay, okay. That's great. That's great.
And then I remember like the first time that I beat my dad, I was like so happy. And I think I always like just from that early age, I really liked the game.
Awesome. What age did you first beat your dad?
I think it was around 5 or 6.
Oh, wow. So pretty quickly. And then did your dad find the tournaments and say, "Hey, we need to go play these tournaments now"?
I think he found a few local tournaments,
Okay.
just scholastic ones,
Yeah.
and then he said like, why don't we go and try it out?
Yeah. And was chess an important thing in your family to your dad and I mean just your family in general, or was your dad just an enthusiast he just liked?
I think he just, I mean, when he first started, it was just something like he just introduced it. Like there was no background behind it.
Okay.
But as I started playing, then it became more and more important to my family.
Okay, that makes sense. And then, what's the first tournament that you remember playing?
I think it was my first tournament. Like I don't remember much about it now, but I do remember it. All I remember is that I lost all my games except for one game, and that one draw, like was really proud for me.
Oh, you were very proud of the one draw? That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, did you care that you lost the four games, or?
Well, I was somewhat disappointed, but at least I got one draw, and then I'm like, okay, I got a draw, then maybe next time I might actually win a game for the first time.
Oh wow! So you had a pretty good attitude at a very young age. Um, so then, after you played that tournament, you played a few more and a few more. When did you win your first tournament?
Uh, I don't remember actually when I won my first tournament. All I remember is playing a lot of scholastic tournaments and then doing well as I got more experience.
Okay, but then how about when did you get your first coach?
First coach, um, I think I met him at one of these tournaments, and then I played him. I don't think I played him in the game, but I was, and then I think my dad was talking to him, and then he introduced himself, and then we just started taking some like classes from there.
Do you
Pretty
remember the
much.
name of your coach?
I I had one at school. Like I joined also the school in my elementary school. His name was Chris Torres,
All right, shout out to Chris Torres. Great
and
job.
then and then another one of my early coaches. His name was Matthew Benson.
All right, shout out to Matthew Benson as well. I like to highlight the early coaches because, well, look at you. You're a FIDE Master now, so they did a great job starting you off. And then, when did you start getting really serious? Like, going to state level competitions or national level competitions?
I think I went to my national level competitions at around like the age of in kindergarten,
Oh,
and
wow. So you were doing it almost immediately.
yeah, pretty much.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
and then that one was really good because like I didn't have any expectations, but I ended up getting third place in that one. So that one was like kind of like a breakout moment for me.
Yeah, yeah. Did you make a lot of friends at these tournaments?
I actually did, yeah. I mean, the earlier tournaments I did make a lot of friends.
Awesome, awesome. And do you have any of those friendships that continue to this day?
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, not all of them continue playing chess, but I do like keep, especially like some of the closest ones. I do keep in touch with them.
Okay, okay. And so then, what is the first like major event you remember winning?
Major event. I think it was the best of the West tournament here in the Bay Area, and I was playing in the I think it was under 2000 section or something,
Okay.
and I ended up winning the tournament and winning that section.
Wow, what did you
First
score?
one. I think it was 5 out of 6 if I remember now.
Okay, great. And winning tournaments like that, how does that make you feel?
I mean, that one was always I felt like a lucky tournament for me, but winning that tournament was like, it was like the next level. I was just really, really, really happy.
Okay, and then so I mean you're not that old, um, and what's your rating now?
My FIDE rating is around 2316.
Okay, did you find any point where you had trouble growing in your abilities?
Yeah, actually there was like a long point around when I entered middle school.
Mhm.
My USCF rating was was close to 2000,
Mhm.
but like I was at like 1999, but it took me like quite a long time to cross 2000,
Uh huh.
and all through my middle school years and even before the pandemic, like I felt like I had reached sort of a plateau. I wasn't improving much
Okay,
each year.
and what did you think you had to work on in your game to improve?
I think that one thing mainly was my openings. Like I would just play kind of like random openings without really studying them, and then just kind of like see what works and like not really look at what's actually the ideas behind the opening. I think so then I would always get into bad positions and then just kind of try to survive throughout the game instead
Yeah.
of, being the one attacking. Just
Yeah. How would you describe your style? Are you a tactical player or a positional player or all around?
I don't know. I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm tactical, sometimes I feel like I'm positional, somewhat all around, but mainly leaning towards positional side.
Okay, and you play D4 then.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, and then when did you start to really like raise your FIDE rating?
Actually, right after the pandemic, my before the pandemic, my FIDE rating was around 2060. But right after the pandemic, during the pandemic, I got a new coach. I started working on my openings, and I learned how to like work on them. And then the tournaments after that, I increased my feeding rating by a lot.
Wow, awesome. And it well, I guess I want to track your coaches because I like to shout them out. So did you have a coach before this new coach?
Yeah, my coach before that was Rajesh from he's an IM from India.
Okay, I am Rajesh. So shout out to him because great
Uh,
job. You're doing great.
and then uh I got two new coaches, Stani GA from he's a Grandmaster from India,
Okay.
and also Debashis Das.
Okay. And so you've worked with quite a few strong players like this. Do you
Uh-huh.
think it's important to work with a variety of coaches and just to see their styles and learn different things from them?
I think it's important because you get a lot of different perspectives when you talk to a lot of different people. One coach may point out like one thing that's wrong with your game, but and like tell you to work there, but he might not even realize like there's another aspect that might not that needs to be fixed, and
Hmm.
another coach can really help point that out, and then each coach has a different style, and looking at their games, you're exposed to a different way of thinking and a different ideas. So I think it is important to work with many different people.
Okay, I appreciate that. And you mentioned the pandemic. How do you think that it impacted your chess? Did you just have a lot of time to study?
I had a lot of time to study, especially because like school was online, so there was less work also. And then a lot of these online tournaments, you can play a lot more of them because you don't have to like travel, and you can just hop on and play like 60-minute games and then review those games. So yeah, that really helped.
Yeah, this is a phenomenon that a lot of people that aren't in the chess world don't know about. Is like how much the pandemic gave students like yourself time to study chess. Would you? Like, this is just a funny question, but would you prefer to be studying your schoolwork or chess?
Um, I would prefer to be studying chess.
Yeah, yeah. But is it important to you to balance chess and education?
Yeah, I mean, my coach just said this, and I also agree. I think it's like important to, keep your education, especially if you're like not going to go full time into chess. I think it's important to make sure that you also keep your education up and don't let that go fall down.
Yeah, yeah. What's your favorite subject in school?
Oh, math.
That's so funny. You're the first person. I mean, sorry, the second person today. I'm gonna say that again. That's so funny. You're the second person today that said math. Is it a common theme in chess that chess players like math?
Well, I think, there are actually a lot of problems in from chess that appear in math. Like there's a problem called the n queens problem, and then there's many problems with how the knight moves. So somewhat related, actually.
Okay, well that's really interesting. The n queens problem. You got to explain that. That's pretty interesting.
So if you have, let's for your regular 8x8 chessboard, right?
Okay.
If you have if you let's say put eight, how many different configurations can you put eight queens on the chessboard so that none of the queens are like attacking each other?
Oh wow,
So
that's a high level math problem. I mean,
so
what's the
you
equation to solve it?
there's like I don't remember the exact number, but there's around 80 configurations of our eight queens that you can put on the 8x8 chessboard
All
so that
right.
they never attack each other. But the still actually unsolved problem is like, is there a formula to solve this as like you have a 9 by 9 or 10 by 10 or
Oh.
going up and increasing the chessboard
So you're
size?
describing an actual hard problem.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's just beautiful. I mean, I love hard problems. I think they're fascinating. So there's even a chess hard problem. I actually didn't even know that. So I appreciate you educating me on that. So they don't have an equation to scale that up.
No, I think there was like some recent work that they have like a bounds like for each size, like what is the number, like there's like a bound on the number of positions that can like fit that arrangement, but they don't have like an exact number.
Wow. That's incredibly fascinating. Okay, well now you've convinced me why chess players love math because it's very fascinating. And you mentioned the Knights tour or what?
Like it would be some sort of a game where like each player moves like a knight, and then the person who like runs out of squares to move the knight loses. Some variation on those type of problems.
Oh, okay.
Um, so which is somewhat like similar to like some sort of geometry concepts and things like that.
Oh, that's really awesome. Well, I appreciate you sharing that with us. That's pretty unique. Not many players are talking about hard problems and chess combined. So excellent. Lost my train of thought. Hold on one second. Where was I going to go next here? Okay, yeah. So let's transition. I'm going to do it with a gap so that I don't overlap.
Okay.
So let's transition into your goals for your chess and your current training regimen. So first, tell us what are your goals for your chess abilities? Do you want the IM title, the GM title, specific rating thresholds, anything like that?
I was hoping to become a GM before I go off to college,
Mm-hmm.
or like that's the goal in the near future, and hopefully international master at least before this year ends.
Okay,
So those are my immediate goals.
great, great. And do you have any norms yet?
I have one IMO.
Wow, great. Did you get the IM norm before you became an FM or?
No, I became an FM and I got it like a month back.
Okay, that's great. So you're on the right track. What does your training regimen look like to get you there?
Well, I don't actually have like a fixed training regimen. I mean, it's more like what, I feel like I get up and feel like doing that day. Like
Okay,
whether
okay.
it's doing, working on the openings or like playing 53-minute games or um
Okay, well then I'm going to ask this question since you said that. Do you prefer playing games or training?
it depends on the mood. If I'm doing well, then, playing games is super fun. But, if I'm on a losing streak, then, I prefer training instead.
Okay, that's interesting because sometimes players will just, if they're losing, they'll just keep playing and not even look at their games. Um,
That happens to me also, but like after a certain point, then I'm like enough is enough, and I just leave.
yeah, so you don't have a fixed amount of time every day, but I guess what do you spend just doing chess, playing
Oh
or
well,
studying?
maybe around like 2 or 3 hours per day.
Is that consistent throughout the year, or do you have to reduce the amount of time when you're in school?
It's probably more during the summer and less during school.
Mhm.
And but during summer I'm usually playing more tournaments also, so that's there. And usually more during weekends than
Great,
weekdays.
great. And do you do any physical activity to as part of your training at all, or are you playing any sports?
Well, I like playing soccer and but I don't really do much of it, and I enjoy hiking and walking also.
Great. And do you have a specific diet, or do you just eat like a kid?
Just eat my favorite food.
All right. That's good. I'm just curious. All right, awesome. And for these upcoming tournaments, you said you've played seven round robins, norm tournaments before.
Uh-huh.
So this will be your eighth.
Oh
What?
no, this will be my
Oh,
seventh, I
oh. So
think.
you played six before. Okay.
Yeah.
So this will be your seventh. So you have a good amount of experience then.
Uh-huh.
And what do you do to prepare for the tournaments? Are you going to prepare for each opponent individually? Are you preparing for them ahead of time, or are you going to prepare more like the day before?
I usually try to check the recent games of all my opponents, and then look at what openings they're playing, and then figure out an opening strategy by looking at what they're playing,
Mhm.
and just try to look at a few of their games and look at what style they have, and also just review my openings in general, because like you don't know they usually surprise you, so it's kind of hard to predict what they're gonna play. But also one thing that is different about this tournaments is that previously I've played all GM norm tournaments, but here I'm going to be playing IM norm tournaments, so I'll
Oh,
see how that changes
oh,
things.
so that's like almost easier, right?
Yeah, but you never know actually. Like everyone's looking for norms, so they're all going to come prepared.
Yeah, they're all hungry for it, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna eat their favorite food, which is your openings. You mentioned being surprised. How do you react when you're surprised in the opening?
Oh, well, I mean, that's actually something I need to improve on. Usually I take like a lot of time and then I try to understand, but then I feel like I make a lot of mistakes when I'm not very familiar with the position.
Hmm.
So that's something I feel like I need to work on and, come up with a playable position where I at least and make sure to keep my time managed properly,
Yeah,
even when I am surprised.
awesome, awesome. What is the hardest thing about playing an event like this?
I would say the hardest thing is that if you're having, let's say, a bad tournament start with two losses or something,
Hmm.
because then nobody's gonna give you a draw and everyone's gonna come at you because they want to try to score against you and you're just having a terrible tournament. And if it's like an open tournament, at least you get paired against some weaker opponents. But in these norm tournaments, you just keep on having to like face it one after the other.
I see, I see. And what are you gonna do to avoid that?
Hopefully try to get a good start or change things up if something's going wrong.
Okay, okay, I appreciate that. All right, I think it's about time to move on to the silly questions, the fun stuff. Because we've been serious here talking about your life, and you're doing fantastically. And I really hope you do well in this upcoming event. But we still want to know who you are, and we need to know the silly things to get a real sense of who you are. So, first question, ready?
Okay.
What? Sorry, I used the wrong word. Who is your favorite superhero?
Huh. Let's see. That's a tough one. I would actually say Venom.
Oh, nice. Out of like 20 interviews I've given, no one said Venom. I gotta drill down. Why Venom?
I really like the symbiote versus human interaction. Like it's
Oh,
really interesting to see, how their goals differ and align. And I also love like, the cinematics and like how it looks, and it looks really cool to me.
okay, that's really excellent. Uh, what's your favorite place to go on vacation?
Favorite place to go on vacation? I love visiting national parks.
Oh,
And seeing the different sites there.
yeah,
For one single place, it would probably be Tahoe.
Tahoe. All right. How many national parks have you gone to?
I would say 10 or 11 so far.
Wow, that's excellent. How many states have you been to?
Mm, Maybe 20 or 30.
Great. So you've traveled all over the United States. That's incredible.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Something slowed down on my computer. It's kind of
Yeah,
let
no
me
problem.
move around a little bit, see if it. I don't know what happened. It might be the connection. Give me 1 second. I'll try to close a few windows. Okay, I think it's better. Um, let's see. We stopped with you traveled all over the United States. I'll just move on to the next one. Okay, this next one's pretty tough. Who would you say is the most underrated chess player in all of chess history?
All of chess history.
Yeah. Or you can say
Well,
current too. It's fine.
yeah, I mean, previously it was kind of difficult because like they didn't really have an established rating system and everything. But these days, the most underrated player. Hmm. Mm, it'd have to be one of the one of the younger players. I mean, they're always extremely underrated. Um,
It could be in terms of accolades and achievements as well, not just like
mhm.
pure rating.
Huh.
I'll do
Hmm.
a little clip of you thinking. It's okay. If you don't know, no big deal.
I don't really know, honestly. I
That's
feel like there's so many people that are just underrated, and then you play them, you think, okay, they're like, okay, whatever, 1800 or something, and they play against you, and then you feel like you just played against a GM.
That's a good answer, actually. Wow. Let's hope that you're actually playing them, not a computer. But yeah, you're not wrong that with access to all the information now online, anybody could have already improved their abilities by like 200 points before
Yeah.
you play them. Yeah, so that's pretty astute. Um, what's your favorite TV show?
Favorite TV show? It would have to be all-time favorite. It would have to be Tom and Jerry.
Oh, nice. Great cartoon. And what's your favorite chess movie?
Chess movie. Um, I would say Searching for Bobby Fischer.
Great. That's a classic choice. And who would you want to play you in the movie of your life? What actor?
Oh, which actor?
Yeah, which actor?
Um, maybe Robert Downey Jr.
Nice. Wow. You're gonna be like. Have you seen Sherlock, his version?
I haven't seen Sherlock, but I've seen all his Iron Man films.
Yeah, I think he plays. I think he plays chess in the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's like a Sherlock scene. I think it's him playing. I'm not sure. Okay, but yeah, you're thinking of Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. Okay, that makes sense. So you're gonna fly around like you fly into the chessboard, you play checkmate, and then fly out. Okay, I like that. That's pretty good. Okay, then one more really silly hard question. What would you like to say to your fans?
Well, thank you for supporting me all the way. Really appreciate your support and checkmate.
All right, checkmate. That's great. So let's move on to the portion where we see your checkmate and we see the game that you're going to show. So go ahead and share your screen when you're ready.
Sure.
And then,
Uh,
as we're doing that, give us the breakdown of, where this game was played and then who you're playing.
this game happened last year, and I was in playing one of these norm tournaments in Seattle,
Great.
and the I was black and playing against a grandmaster named Alexander Mista
Okay.
from Poland, and the game was I played the Sicilian time loss variation,
Great.
and then he decided to go for this bishop e3 and bishop e2 system, which I had prepared for, and instead of going for the regular f3 and queen d2 and castles, which is the other main line.
Yeah.
Well,
Did you know that
what?
he was going to play this?
Yeah, I had looked at his games, and it seemed like he'd played this in most of his games. So I
Great.
decided to go with this. I played one of the main lines being bishop b4. The other one is bishop b7, which is also another line. He played this move knight takes c6, whereas knight a4 is the usual main line. But this is
Okay.
also, but this was also a line that I had prepared.
So
Um,
you weren't surprised here.
no, so
You'd
I,
seen that he'd played this before, or
yeah, I'd seen that he played this before. If I remember correctly, I think also he played a game against Duda. I think in this line.
oh
So,
wow, Jan Krzysztof Duda.
yeah, I think so.
Okay, that's the top Polish player, right?
Yeah.
Okay, wow, interesting.
So he went for this aggressive line, like trying to immediately get start an attack.
Hmm.
But I had looked at all this, knight takes c takes, and this position I'd analyzed in depth. There are many different continuations, like white can go things like c3,
Hmm.
bishop d3, rook f3, and there's rook f3.
Yeah.
Queen d4 is also an option. So there's many different things that white can do here, but he decided to go for bishop d3, which I also knew. A5, but queen h5 was the first move I didn't really know of.
Well, I mean, it looks like a natural move, but is it any
Looks
good?
like a natural move, but I mean, I thought g6 is just defending pretty easily.
Yeah.
Queen h6 and rook e8, just like aiming to pull the bishop back. And then, but he immediately goes for rook f3, and I try to exchange one of his light squared bishops and hopefully try to do something on the queen side also as a counterattack. He goes rook h3, h5, and g4. And, I looked at this, but I thought, like nothing was really coming for a white's attack since I have bishop takes, c takes, and this intermediate move, bishop e7. So now if he goes g5, I mean, there's no way for him to attack.
Yeah, it closes down his whole attack, and then was there no way to take on h5?
Because since the like bishop takes, if he takes on h5 now, I'm guessing there's something like bishop f5.
Yeah.
And then I'm attacking the rook,
That's pretty ugly, yeah.
Or even I can go bishop e7 first and then bishop f5.
Oh, it's a similar idea.
Yeah. So instead, he took back, and after bishop e7, he's forced to move the queen back to g3, and h takes, queen takes, and then here I thought king g7 with the idea of moving the rook, and I thought that black was completely fine here.
Yeah.
And there's nothing white can do. But then I totally missed his next move, f5.
Oh, wow.
This really took me by surprise.
Wow, that's a very nice move.
He takes, the idea is bishop h6 check, king g8, and queen f4.
Right.
And now the silent threat is to play, let's say, black just made a time pass move like this. His idea is to play like bishop g7.
Yeah.
And king takes and queen h6, and then he's giving checkmate.
Yeah, there are the mates to follow. Yeah.
So
at this point in the game, were you afraid that you were much worse, or were you?
Yeah, I mean, I was afraid that I was going to get mated somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting the computer is only showing. This is a limited depth, I'm guessing, but it's only showing like 0.5 advantage for white.
For black, I think it's showing.
Oh, it's showing for black. Oh, I thought it was showing an advantage for white earlier.
I think it was, but I'm not sure if f5 was also the most.
So f5 is just scary looking, but
it's not necessarily that.
I see.
But I think like with the higher depth, the engine was showing something around equal here.
Okay, that makes sense.
So in order to stop his like bishop g7 threat, I went for f6 to like create like a path for my king to run. Also, if he decides to sacrifice material, and then here I was expecting him to play something like queen g3, and after king f7, it's not. Wait. I think it's g5. I think g5 was the move.
Okay.
And this position was pretty. I wasn't really sure how to evaluate it since, like, it looks like my king is somewhat weak, but like with the pin, there's no way to immediately make use of it.
Right.
But he went for this move, queen h4, which also surprised me because I thought I could just take the pawn, and after bishop g5, there was this. It's important to not take immediately because then I believe that white has some sort of a check and some sort of perpetual here after king f8. Queen takes g6, and white's attack is coming pretty fast with something like rook h8, and bishop doesn't have a good square to go here.
Right.
So first play queen b6 check to defend this g6 pawn. That's an important intermediate move.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And then after king h1 takes, and here was actually I thought for a long time, and I wasn't really sure what to do because white's coming rook h6 or rook g1 next, and if after something like rook g1, white will have queen takes f5 threads, rook h6 threats, and you know, I thought it was pretty scary for my king. Then I saw this strong move, rook a6,
Right.
which was I thought it was really a really good move because it looks like this rook is on the side of the board doing nothing, but this move allows me to bring my queen back to f6 and just basically hold everything together. So
Right.
I think without this move, like it would be quite difficult to defend. But I felt like this move kind of saves the day.
When
And
when did
now,
you when did you see that move? Did you see that move ahead of time?
no, I actually only saw it after queen into g5. Like I didn't realize the danger of this position at first.
Mm.
But then, afterwards I was thinking, and then I saw rook a6.
All right. Do you consider yourself lucky in finding
Yeah, I
that?
consider myself pretty lucky.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Uh, but after this move, like white's down 2 pawns, and he can't really recoup it because now I bring my queen here, and I have 2 extra pawns, and
Yeah.
my center mass is just gonna keep on rolling. And after consolidating a little bit, um, I eventually started pushing the pawns.
Yeah. Yeah. And those pawns are way too strong. I see.
Yeah, and eventually I gave this, and I was about to give checkmate. He resigned.
Yeah. For the fans, put the checkmate on the board. Let's see it. Yep, there it goes. That's nice. Nice checkmate with the queen and the pawn. Awesome. So, did this game, were you really excited to get this game and proud of the play?
Yeah, I was happy. Like I was happy with the accuracy of my play because usually there's like at least a few blunders and like a ton of mistakes. But this game was quite accurate, also according to the engine, and it was my first win against a Grandmaster, so it was
Oh,
very
wow.
memorable. So
Well, that's exciting. Let's actually unshare and go side by side for this. I want to just talk about how that made you feel.
uh-huh.
So that's the first time you beat a grandmaster right there.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. And uh, what did you do when you won?
Yeah, it was also my first norm tournament, and like I was just really happy. Like I didn't really like understand it at first. Like I was like, wow, I just you know beat a grandmaster first time after like so many tries and so many failed attempts, and it was just you know some sort of like a feeling you can't describe.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, it not many players get a chance to beat a grandmaster.
Yeah.
You have to be a strong player to do it. So, you described the rook h6 move, finding that. What kind of relief do you feel when you find a move like that in a game especially when you're not sure about the position?
I mean, like before, you might have like a sinking feeling, and especially because my time was like a lot lower than his, and so I thought, okay, I'm going to go into time pressure. The position looks really complicated, and then you're feeling like, okay, not again. This is, slipping away, and But then when you find that move, it's like a huge relief.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, the relief that you're going to. Did you just think you're going to win after that?
Well, after Rook A6, I mean, after I consult Rook A6, I thought, okay, maybe he might have some idea like I didn't really see or something.
Yeah.
But then after the next few moves, once I consolidated, then I was like, okay, now this is like my best chance. Don't screw it up, and then you can finally win.
Okay, and then actually one other question I wanted to ask. You mentioned looking at it in depth with engines. Do you do
Uh-huh.
a lot of work with engines?
Yeah, especially for opening analysis. I try to like check my lines with the engine just to make sure that they're because a lot of times when looking at the engine, you'll even though you have your databases and you're looking at what other people have played, you can find a lot of interesting and creative ideas with the engine and a lot of counterintuitive moves.
Have you been able to put any novelties on the board?
Uh, I,
Any of
I
your
think
games?
I have put a few novelties on the board and also a few like unexpected ideas, sort of,
That's awesome. That's
and a
awesome.
lot of yeah. They don't always work out, but a lot of interesting moves on the board just from engine preparation.
Do you use like Stockfish or do you use a cloud engine or anything?
I use cloud engines because the ones on if I use the ones on my computer, like it slows the computer down a lot, and a lot of times the chess space like freezes, and everyone knows how annoying it is when like your computer crashes and you
Uh-huh.
didn't get to save. Also,
Yeah,
so,
well, I think you need to ask your dad for a Christmas present of some sort, some birthday gift. A really fast computer. That's it. I asked that question because I saw some people talking about that recently, about how important cloud engines are. Um,
yeah.
do you have any input on how the cloud engines have changed the game of chess?
Well, I think also I think cloud engines really have helped like build deeper ideas. Like for example, in the just most recent candidates, Fabiana Caruana, I think when in his black game against Nepomniachtchi, he played like a line that looks like close to losing, and even the engine says like it's -1 or whatever. I mean, sorry, +1 for white.
Yeah.
And so, but then when you look with the engine, like you come to realize that yes, it is better for white, but only if he plays like five only moves that like no one's ever gonna find.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Does that inspire you that players can find these ideas and that you can also do the same?
Yeah, I mean, it inspires me also because like it's like anyone can do this. Anyone with an internet connection and a laptop can just and some software can just go and look at positions and find new creative ideas and put them on the board.
Yeah, and are you aware of how unique that is in history?
So sorry, what do you mean by that question?
Are you aware of that this is like completely new historical moment where
Yeah, like I remember also like just a few years ago, like humans would be able to like, kind of doubt whether the engine's actually giving the right move and like say, okay, the engine doesn't really understand these close positions. I remember like Hikaru Nakamura had a game where he played against like Ribka and he was able to fully close the position into like a fortress and the computer just kept on giving material away and he actually beat the computer.
oh
And so like
wow.
back then, people were like, okay, you can somewhat doubt it, but now it's like, the engine says it's like the best move. There's no question about that.
Yeah, yeah. And do you think a human will ever beat a computer again?
No, but I think it is possible for a human to draw against a computer.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Maybe a forced line or
I mean, not necessarily a force line. I think it's possible even in say a complex position, but I just think that, it's like that would be an amazing moment. Like,
mhm.
oh yeah, obviously you can play like a forced draw line,
Yeah,
but I'm saying other than that, I think it may be possible.
yeah, yeah. In a real game where you're thinking for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're running out of time here. I mean, we could keep talking about these subjects for a while. Um, maybe you should tell everybody how you got so smart. Like, why are you so smart?
There's a lot of people that are smarter than me out there.
Well, I appreciate that. You're very humble. Are you excited for the upcoming event?
Yeah, I'm hoping, excited to see how it goes and hoping to play some memorable games.
Okay, well, I wish you good luck, and I appreciate the time today. Anything else you want to say to the audience?
Thank you for listening. Uh, you know, uh, hope you have fun playing chess.
All right, thank you, Melinda. I appreciate that, and have a good tournament.
All right, thank you so much for interviewing me.